Peace. Debunk here, about to debunk something. Alright, so obviously the big thing that's been going around today is September 11th. And let's see what I got here. Alright, this is a good one. Brother Dave, put that up there. It says, like, what the fuck? FBI claims, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but basically, out of that fireball, they saying that one of the hijackers' ID floated to the ground. Yeah, I don't think so, but that's what they say. Now here's the other one. You might can't see it too good because it's a dark picture, but it's just a picture of 3 high-rises burning, and neither one of these high-rises collapsed, especially not collapsing like, well, none of these collapsed, but since we couldn't find any, there are no buildings in history that have skyscrapers that have collapsed due to fire. We don't have anything to match what happened on 9/11, but basically it's perceived to be that that's impossible, because that's what those buildings are designed to withstand, because if that was the case, if they all would fall, it were in jeopardy to fall like that, then we probably wouldn't be building a whole bunch of them around the place. But anyway, so I've been having some discussions online about, with the people who disagree that 9/11 was a conspiracy or Building 7 wasn't a conspiracy. So I had a debate with somebody, and we were going back and forth and saying, well, you're not an engineer and you're not an engineer. And that's a true point. I mean, we're not engineers, so we probably wouldn't know the details and the ins and outs about, how to prove or disprove whether or not those buildings were able to or should have fell the way they fell. But I know that I can find a whole bunch of engineers that agree with my perspective that they shouldn't have fell like that, because there's a group of engineers working with the victims of the families of the victims, to get some truth, because nobody believes that shit happened like that. All right, but I'm going to tell you 2 simple things you can do to find out for yourself. Think about how big. Look at the World Trade Center. That's up in the air. I mean, they got 100 and something floors. The people who work in the World Trade Center said that it would sway with the wind sometime, because it was designed for that. We do know that it was designed to withstand the impact of planes. I don't know the exact size and dimensions of what plane they built it, the specs to, but if we look at the time frame, you would assume that they would probably do it for the biggest planes possible in that era. And they did have passenger planes, I believe, but maybe not as big, maybe not with as much fuel. I don't know, but it was built to withstand hits by planes. Okay. Now, 100 and something plus floors, all is steel. This is usually when they build buildings, reinforced steel rebar, and if the building can sway in the wind, you would assume that it was built also with a little give. You know what I'm saying? Probably necessary, being so high in the air. All right, so here's how we prove your point. First thing you do is you go to the engineeringtoolbox.com. Okay, got some real good snazzy little details. So what we're gonna look up is metal. Right? Oh, you can't see that. Let me get closer. Let's get some focus here. Can we get some focus? Oops. Oh. I guess I ain't gonna get no more focus. Alright. Well, that was a waste of time. I thought that was gonna be clear. Well, I guess I gotta get real close. Metal melting point. Celsius on the left, Fahrenheit on the right. Alright, so we scroll down. And we go to the top. We have steel carbon and steel stainless. Steel carbon burns at about what's that? 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit to 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you got stainless steel, which burns at about 2,750 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. So that's an established fact. I mean, I think we can. I mean, if you wanted to, you can go back and verify whether or not this is an actual site put up by engineers, and then you can verify the information. And but I'm going to go ahead and accept this as truth. I do believe this is an engineering website. I don't think they would go through all this convoluted stuff to sell me a lie on the temperature of the melting point of steel or all these other metals. So I'm going to accept that as fact. Now let's move on to something else. Now I use something a little probably, it's Wikipedia, so most people don't, everybody don't accept Wikipedia as a reputable reference or resource, but I think for this we can go ahead and take it. If not, I'll definitely find it in another place, but I like the way they specified in bold red open air burning temperature for jet fuel. This is for jet fuel. And it says in Fahrenheit it is 500 to 599 degrees Fahrenheit. So you have steel that melts at above 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, almost at 3,000, and then you got jet fuel that burns in the open air at about 500 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. So then you probably want to add in the fact how much jet fuel was on the plane and all that stuff, and but then you got to try to figure out, well, how long would fuel burn? And then I think we get a kind of a glimpse of that here. When you look here, this is the jet fuel burning. All this red, that's an instant. It's kind of like if you got the gas on in the oven and you throw a match in there and you get that. Woof, that's all this is. So that's all the jet fuel. And it couldn't melt the steel because it burned up outside of the building. And even if that jet fuel from those two planes, if I think even if the whole plane was full of jet fuel, not in the tank but in the whole plane, and the only people in there was the pilots. Let's take the pilots out, make the whole plane jet fuel, one big bomb. It still could not have coated all of the steel rebar in the building from top to bottom to make that building fall down the way it did. Come on. Wake your ass up. Peace.